Hey folks, this week we're looking at the social, emotional, and health aspects of risk. Now, of course, a good risk management plan does all it can to mitigate physical harms of participants. But what are we doing to ensure that we're creating safe spaces in our programs so that all who show up feel like they belong, they feel like they're part of the community, and they feel like they have a voice and are being celebrated for their contributions, as unique as they might be? How do we ensure that in our staff training and in our field protocols that we've done the background work and the education to ensure that when emotional situations do arise in the field, think of it as maybe psychological first aid, that we've prepared our field staff adequately to respond according to the need at hand? So those are the questions, those are the things that we're going to be digging into this week. So as we do that, let's take a look at our Moodle page, and I'll walk you through some of the assignments and the specifics of the week. Okay, so here we are, week 4, module 4, social, emotional, mental risk. Now, like every week, you've got the instructions page to provide an overview of the assignments and the readings and other things that you might be thinking about this week. Of course, the Module 4 video overview, which I assume you're watching now. Now, in terms of the resources, with the readings this week, I believe there are 5 readings, and we're looking at everything from positive psychology to looking at this idea of the comfort zone, probably a model that we're all very familiar with. So this article looks at the comfort zone and asks the question, is it a model or is it a metaphor? What is the purpose? What value does the comfort zone model or metaphor serve? We're looking at anxiety, self-efficacy. Chapter 7 in the Knowles book provides a nice overview of emotional risk management. And then, of course, we look at this idea of pushing comfort zones and the relationship to comfort zones and peak learning experiences. And then finally, we've got a controversial issue, which is, do the benefits of adventure programming outweigh the risks? So a decent amount of readings this week. So please do dig into those at the depth and at the level that you're able to. Now let's take a look at the assignments. Of course, we've got our online video discussion. And then the first draft of the essay is due this week. So with that draft, what I'm looking for there is, first of all, that it's submitted as a MS Microsoft Word document. Hopefully by now you've collected at least 6 to 10 sources to inform your essay. And then in terms of the structure, the sections that I'm looking for are similar to the following. Not that you're going to have your headings listed exactly like this, but you should have a flow, essentially a story that starts to take place that follows this general format. And essentially that is, you'll have an introduction that provides a really big picture overview of the topic. Tell us a little bit about your thesis statement and what this paper is going to cover. And then you'll go into your background and significance. And this is really where you set the stage. You provide enough background information for the reader so that they can follow along and feel relatively informed about the conversation that you're having in the paper. Finally, you'll have an analysis and discussion section or something similar where you kind of wrap the whole thing up and talk about it through this lens that you're looking at the topic through. So that's really where you'll kind of say, here's all the stuff that I told you about in the background. Now here's how I'm seeing it, and here's how the story unfolds through the lens that I'm looking at it through. And then finally, a conclusion part that will briefly and concisely just provide an overview of, here's the thesis, here's what I wanted to tell you about. Here are the main topics, the main points that I want you to take away from this. And then you kind of put a bow on the thing and wrap it up. And of course, the references and works cited. So that's essentially the general flow or format of the paper that I'm looking for. In terms of length at this point, I'd say you should have at least 6 pages of content by now. But the paper itself is 6 to 10 pages in total. So sometimes people like to write more than that, and then they edit out as they go. So it depends on where you're at with that, but somewhere between 6 and 10 pages at this point for the paper.